Over the past 2 months, Scientology has become the target of teens seeking to storm their buildings, disrupt their operations, and expose potentially hidden cult activities. What started out as a simple TikTok prank has turned into a coordinated international trend to bring chaos to Scientology.
Minions! Tonight we meet Tom Cruise!
The motivations and impacts of these teens, however, remain controversial. Critics of the trend believe the out-of-hand behavior of these individuals marginalizes legitimate Scientology protest efforts, while proponents argue their disruptive behavior is the first real blow to Scientology we have witnessed in a long time. The question remains, has Scientology speedrunning gone too far? I assume if you're watching this, you're at least vaguely familiar with the Church of Scientology. They have been the center of much negative publicity since their inception. Ex-members have reported abuse, blackmail, and financial schemes embedded within their secret operations.
As you get further indoctrinated, you can't get out without huge damage to yourself and to your family. And if you decide to leave and speak out, as most do, their policies say to attack.
They have a history of taking aggressive legal action against all who oppose them, and even pressure members to shun outsiders, including family members who reject their beliefs. They also believe humans are made up of alien spirits called Thetans that were transported to Earth 80 million years ago, and were blown up in volcanoes with hydrogen bombs by an extraterrestrial galactic ruler named Xenu. But I suppose that's what you get when the founder of your religion is a science fiction writer. It's this combination of strange beliefs and unethical behavior that's made Scientology a prime target for viral stunts like Scientology speedrunning. It all started with two 18-year-old LA-based content creators, Swiley and Is Derpy. Swiley's content often involved street interviews and comedic stunts, while Derpy frequently made prank videos. Swiley took an interest in the Scientology building on Hollywood Boulevard and made a video of himself purchasing a book there. The video was very successful, inspiring Swiley to pursue Scientology content further. In his own words, "From there on out, I pretty much knew that Scientology was like a gateway to a lot of views." Shortly after Swiley's visit on March 25th, Derpy stormed the same Hollywood Boulevard location shouting Xenu, the first true speedrun.
Xenu! 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 Xenu!
Despite being quickly escorted out, the attention this video received only further encouraged Derpy to give it another try. On March 31st, 2026, Derpy and Swiley decided to team up for a run. They rushed into the same building as before, shouting and running as far as they could. The sound of an alarm can be heard as they sprint past the front desk, their goal to get as deep into the building as they can. The attempt, however, was short-lived. The two influencers were blocked off by staff and quickly escorted out. Little did they know, this seemingly innocent, albeit disruptive prank was about to blow up the internet. Receiving over 90 million views, the run was an instant hit. Even at this point in time, Scientology staff were already describing their actions as misdemeanors and trespassing.
Okay, now you're committing a crime. Now you're committing a misdemeanor.
A misdemeanor?
Yeah, you gotta get out.
Okay.
Despite their success, the two knew they were riding a very thin line and could not continue harassing Scientology any further. We would not see another speedrun by either of these two. Unfortunately for Scientology, the genie was already out of the bottle. It wouldn't be long before a bolder group of teens took their place. In early April, the situation would escalate when a group of air horn-wielding teens stormed the same Hollywood Boulevard location. The group managed to enter the side entrance, blasting air horns as they ran downstairs, taking a different route than the previous run. After taking a wrong turn, they doubled back, pushing down a Scientology staff member attempting to corral them towards an exit.
Get out! Get out! What are you doing?
Confronted with livid Scientologists on both sides, the group was forced to leave, but not without resisting.
Get out! Just get out! Just get out!
In addition to uploading the run, images of drawn maps of the building's layout were posted. The goal of each run was to uncover a new room that had not been visited before in order to further add to the map. Scientology speedrunning had now become a game. Near the end of April, around the 25th, the most egregious runs would come. Perhaps the straw that broke the camel's back. A group of teens would hit 2 different Scientology buildings in a single day. The 2 buildings hit were the Hollywood Boulevard Church and the International Center. A group of about 15 kids wearing costumes forcefully entered both buildings, prying the doors open with a crowbar while security attempted to hold them back. They knocked over anything and anyone in their path, damaging tables and roped off areas as they stormed about. They really didn't uncover anything particularly interesting. In fact, I believe most of the areas they accessed are publicly available for those who want to tour them. They did, however, royally anger the staff members, taunting them as they fled. At this point, these antics had evolved from harmless pranks to full-on crimes. Just a few days after these runs, the Scientology buildings on Hollywood Boulevard became a spectacle attraction, but not for the reasons they wanted. An all-are-welcome sign hung above removed door handles. Members of Scientology could be seen inside the building, locking arms to form a human shield to protect their building from anyone daring enough to break in. While the LA Scientology scene lay dormant, similar copycat runs started brewing internationally. In May, Scientology buildings were targeted in Vancouver, London, Sydney, and Brisbane. In contrast to past runs, these were large, organized gatherings coordinated on Instagram, each averaging 200 to 300 kids. While none of the buildings were penetrated, the teens caused a large commotion on the streets outside these buildings, forcing police to take action to disperse crowds. In the chaos, several arrests were made, primarily for failing to comply with police, but an honorable mention to the person who jumped a police car with a BMX bike. Yeah, now I see why Australia banned social media for their youth. Another notable run happened in Seattle during this time, when a group of 30 people forced their way into a Scientology building using crowbars. Arrests, of course, were made, and Scientology declared these antics to be hate crimes. Hate crime could be a strong word to describe the action of these speedrunners, but they are still blatantly committing felonies. Most would agree that vandalism and harassment are not something we should encourage, even if it's against a highly contentious organization. TikTok has taken a stance against the trend as well, removing any video that features breaking and entering or harassment. In fact, Swiley, one of the original runners, has had his TikTok account wiped from the platform. At least I assume, because I couldn't find it whatsoever. These crimes are also the very reason that several outspoken Scientology critics have voiced their concerns over the raids. Leah Remini, a well-known actress and church defector, called the trend unhelpful. She wrote on Instagram that running through a Scientology building only confirms the church's narrative that the outside world is dangerous, leading members to double down on their beliefs. She then goes on to say that we should be focusing on exposing the dangers of Scientology rather than making a spectacle out of it.
People who were never in Scientology talking about it in a way that could reach others, especially younger people, and help prevent them from being involved. That kind of awareness was very important and it had a purpose, but this is not that. What I'm seeing now, running into Scientology buildings, harassing staff, provoking reactions for TikTok, is not really exposure. It feels like it's about clicks, and it's turning something serious into content, and in doing so, it completely loses the point.
Similarly, another opponent of Scientology, Alexander Barnes-Ross, who has led protests in the UK against the organization, said that these runs undermine legitimate protest efforts. In his words, "There's nothing funny about Scientology. This is a dangerous, harmful organization." He said attempts to break in with force undermined his peaceful protest efforts. For people like Remini and Ross, who've dedicated themselves to exposing the dangers of Scientology, trends centered around spectacle and chaos lack any real driving force of change that they desire. For these runners, change was never the goal. Unsurprisingly, the influencers responsible, Swiley and Iz Derpy, were quick to distance themselves from the trend as things spiraled further out of control. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Swiley said he didn't do what he did to come out against them or anything, and that he does not condone his actions. Similarly, Derpy told CNN that his only goal is to try and post funny stuff.
I just try to post funny stuff.
Do you still think it's funny?
Yeah, I still think it's funny.
Derpy characterizes the trend quite well, in fact. Despite the impact of their actions, the goal was simply to make funny content, for better or worse. Although the trend has faced heavy criticism, it has equally been given a fair amount of allowance as well. For many people, all that matters is the negative impact these kids are having on Scientology. When scrolling through the comments of these raid videos, there's no shortage of encouragement from supporters. In comparison to how many of us criticize traditional prank content, which often involves harassing innocent people or legitimate businesses, Scientology speedruns seem to have the support of the people. I suppose when you have an organization that is widely criticized by the public, people don't care as much when kids vandalize your property. One prominent voice backing this view is Streets LA, another well-known content creator famous for disrupting Scientology recruitment efforts, primarily targeting the Hollywood Boulevard Center.
No, it's a sect, that's a cult. No.
Oh, don't do it, it's a cult. That's a cult right there. This is Scientology, it's a cult. Don't do it, don't do it.
They got security, Scientology security doing painting on a ladder. They're trying to get your money. It's a scam. Don't do it. When you signed your billion-year contract, did you really think that you'd be on a ladder painting on a Friday night?
For Streets LA, the results are what matters. These speedrunners are the only people in a long time that have directly caused Scientology to shut their doors and stop recruiting. Every day their door remains closed is another day they are unable to coerce someone off the street and into their building. According to Streets LA, Scientology opponents like Leah Remini, despite advocating against Scientology, have done far less than these kids to reduce the Scientology threat in the world.
You know, there's some of these like ex-Scientology people who are on YouTube and stuff who complain about how these kids are hurting the cause. I can't tell. It's closed. How many days have you guys had this place closed? Look at the foot traffic right here. This is the #1 recruiting place in the world.
Like many controversial topics, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. It's difficult to argue the motivations of these teens are anything but chasing virality. That's how it got started, and that's the reason it escalated so quickly. We have to remember we're talking about a group primarily composed of teenagers. A trend doesn't need to be good or bad to influence others to copy, it just needs to be popular.
6, 7.
None of these kids have a long history of undermining Scientology, and their use of costumes and noisemakers alongside the Subway Surfers soundtrack only confirms their intention is to escalate the trend from its humble origins as a means of gathering as many views as possible. The fact of the matter remains that the actions of these speedrunners are encouraged by the general public's distaste for Scientology. We, the audience, are the ones rewarding them with our continual viewership, liking, sharing, and reposting the latest, craziest run.
That guy got hit in the head with a coconut!
It feels like a kind of symbiotic relationship. The creators want views, and the audience enjoys seeing them make mockery of Scientology. So a win-win, right?
What? No!
Well, as we've seen from the increasing number of arrests made at these raids, along with videos of kids doing clearly illegal things that have nothing to do with Scientology speedrunning, the trend seems to have evolved into an excuse for overall teenage debauchery. I know when I was 15 years old, if I heard a group of hundreds of my peers were going down to a Scientology building with air horns, I'd be interested in checking that out too. The problem with these newer speedrunners is that it really doesn't matter to them what they do. As long as it's crazy and vaguely has to do with Scientology, then their video will be a hit. It's uncertain how this trend will continue in the following months. Like many trends, it could inevitably fizzle out over time. Even while making this video, it became increasingly difficult to find clips of these speedruns because a lot of them involve minors breaking and entering, something our modern day social media platforms frown on promoting. YouTube moderators, if you're watching this, I'm just commentating on the topic. This is for science, I promise. But trends also die another way, a more serious way. As we've seen in the past with ridiculous trends such as the Tide Pod eating challenge, someone could get seriously hurt in all this prepubescent chaos. And I think that's really what critics of the speedrunners are afraid of. Regardless of how much disruption they cause to Scientology operations, they are in this case acting as the aggressors, which, against a powerful litigating organization backed by millions of dollars, could end very badly for someone. But at the same time, maybe it's nice to see that Scientology isn't the invincible organization it pretends to be. One thing's for certain, when dealing with teenage mobs, you never know what you're gonna get because they never know what they're gonna do. This isn't like any organized protest we've seen before. It's a fire, one that might rage out of control or fizzle out. Only time will tell. What do you think? Effective activism or just another internet spiral? Drop your thoughts below and let me know if you've seen these in person. Thanks for watching. Hit the like and subscribe for more deep dives on internet culture, gaming, and tech news, or whatever topic I randomly decide talking about next time. I'll see you in the next one.